Welcome to our deep dive, where we're going to be exploring that tricky leap from college to a fulfilling career. We'll be using Lindsey Pollak's Getting from College to Career as our roadmap.
Mm.
So whether you're a student or you just graduated, or maybe you're just curious about the whole professional world, get ready for some real insightful advice.
Sounds good.
Now, Pollak starts off with a story that I think a lot of people can relate to. She was thinking about going to law school, because it seemed like the thing to do, like what everyone expected. But she quickly realized that law just bored her to tears.
Mm-hmm.
And it highlights something super important, right? Like figuring out your own path instead of just blindly following what other people tell you is right.
Exactly. The job market these days, it really rewards people who stand out.
hmm
People who take initiative and aren't afraid to be different.
And, speaking of standing out, Pollak actually talks about how she got her own career break. It all started with a chance encounter at a Rotary Club meeting, which led her to study abroad in Australia. And that experience completely changed her career trajectory. And that's a perfect example of something she talks about a lot in the book, networking. In fact, she even mentions this crazy stat, 70 to 80% of jobs are found through networking. But what is it about networking that makes it so powerful?
Well, it's not about, schmoozing or being fake. It's really about building genuine relationships and becoming known in your field. It's about people thinking of you when opportunities come up.
So it's not just about collecting business cards at events.
Right.
It's about making real connections.
Exactly.
I see. Now, she also suggests something called informational interviews. What are those exactly?
Informational interviews are like gold mines for getting insights into careers, maybe even some careers you hadn't even thought about before. Plus, you get to grow your network in a natural way. But remember, these aren't job interviews. They're more like strategic conversations where you're trying to gather intel and make those valuable connections.
Well, it's like picking someone's brain about their career path.
Pretty much.
That's a really great tip. And for anyone feeling a little overwhelmed by the whole networking thing, Pollak has some advice for that too. She says, start with your existing circle. So family, friends, professors, people you've met through extracurriculars.
Yeah, it's all about leveraging those existing relationships. You never know who might be able to offer a helpful insight or introduce you to someone who can.
Everyone's connected to someone else, right?
So
Okay, now let's switch gears a bit and talk about something Pollak calls the brag book. What makes this so much more effective than a traditional resume?
Well, a brag book, it lets you break free from the boring old resume format. It lets you showcase your accomplishments in a way that's tangible and visually engaging. It's especially great for those who learn best visually or for people in creative fields. You can show off projects, awards, volunteer work, all in a way that really grabs attention.
It's about making those bullet points come alive, right?
Exactly.
And while we're talking about making an impact, let's discuss a skill that many people find completely terrifying, public speaking.
Public speaking can definitely be nerve-wracking, but it's a skill like any other. You can develop it and get better over time. Just start small. Practice in low-pressure situations like classroom discussions or group presentations. You'll gradually get more comfortable and your confidence will grow.
I like that. Start small.
Yeah.
Now, Pollak, she actually shares an anecdote about someone who landed a job by impressing the interviewer during a conversation before the actual interview even began.
Oh, wow.
Just goes to show you that every interaction can be an opportunity.
You're absolutely right. Every encounter is a chance to show off your communication skills and leave a good impression.
This brings us to a piece of advice from the book that seems a little counterintuitive. She writes, congratulations, get the help you need and move on. Now you've got some certified failure experience.
Right.
How can we reconcile this with the idea of striving for success?
Well, that statement, it's actually pointing out a really important truth. Setbacks are going to happen. And what's even more important is that employers, they actually value resilience and the ability to learn from mistakes. It's not about never failing. It's about knowing how to deal with failure effectively.
So it's about turning those failures into learning experiences. How do we do that?
Well, it's about breaking down what went wrong, figuring out what you could have done differently, and using that knowledge to improve your approach next time. A perfect track record, that's not the goal. Employers are looking for people who can handle setbacks, adapt, and come out stronger on the other side.
Now, Pollak also talks a lot about pursuing your passions. But is it really possible to make a living doing what you love?
It might not always be easy, but there are things you can do to bridge the gap between your passion and making a decent living. You need to do your research on different job sectors. You need to constantly be developing your skills and be willing to start small or even take on side gigs to gain experience in areas you're truly passionate about.
She even gives this awesome example of a Tony Award winner who, as a teenager, wrote a letter to his idol. And that simple act of reaching out led to a mentorship, which really helped his career take off.
That's incredible.
It shows you the power of just reaching out to people you admire. It wasn't even about asking for favors or a job. It was about expressing genuine admiration and wanting to learn. And that opened the door to a really valuable connection.
Okay, let's shift focus to internships, which seem like they're becoming more and more important in the job market these days.
Definitely. Internships give you real-world experience, they help you expand your network, and they can even help you figure out which career paths are not a good fit for you.
Pollack even tells a story about an intern who stood out simply because he was eager to learn and he wasn't afraid to ask for more work.
That's a great example of how attitude can be just as important as experience. Being proactive, taking initiative, showing a genuine desire to contribute those qualities make you a valuable asset regardless of your current skill set.
I love that. So how do you actually go about getting these internships in the first place? Online platforms, professional associations, even alumni networks are all good places to start. And don't underestimate your school's career services office. They often have tons of resources and connections that can be really helpful.
But it's not just about getting the internship right. It's about making the most of the experience.
Absolutely. You got to network with your fellow interns, connect with people in HR, and actively look for opportunities to learn and contribute. Remember, it's not just about building your resume, it's about building your professional reputation and forming relationships that can benefit you for years to come.
So it's about the long game.
Exactly. And don't forget about those relationships once your internship is over. You know, keep in touch, congratulate them on their successes, offer your help. Those connections can be super valuable as you move forward in your career.
Great point. Okay, let's tackle something that can be kind of scary, especially for those just entering the workforce. Salary negotiation.
Yeah, it's totally normal to feel a bit hesitant about it, especially when you're so excited to get that job offer. But it's important to know what you're worth and make sure your compensation reflects that.
But Pollack makes a good point that negotiation is a skill you can practice and get better at. The more you do it, the more confident you'll become.
Right. And she offers some great tips on how to approach those salary discussions with confidence and professionalism. Doing your research on industry standards, highlighting your unique skills and accomplishments, and being able to clearly articulate your value proposition are all key.
And she also says don't be afraid to walk away from an offer that doesn't meet your needs or expectations. Sometimes knowing your value means saying no to opportunities that aren't the right fit.
Exactly. Now let's talk about something that can make or break a first impression: how you dress.
Ah, yes, the eternal struggle of what to wear to an interview. It can be so confusing with all the different advice out there.
The key is to project an image of confidence, professionalism, and competence. It's always better to be slightly overdressed, especially for that initial interview.
Pollack actually highlights the power of a well-tailored suit, even in today's more casual workplaces.
It shows that you're serious and respectful, and it can even boost your own confidence, which can really make a difference in how you come across.
And she also talks about the importance of paying attention to details like crisp clothing, polished shoes, and a well-groomed appearance. Even though they seem small, those things send a strong message about your attention to detail and how much you care about making a good impression.
For sure. Your appearance should complement your personal brand and the image you want to project to the world.
Okay, let's move on to another aspect of professional etiquette that can be a little tricky: dining with potential employers.
It's understandable to be a little nervous, but it's also a great opportunity to show off your interpersonal skills and make a memorable impression.
Pollack offers some really practical tips on how to navigate those situations gracefully and professionally.
Choosing appropriate menu items, engaging in thoughtful conversation, demonstrating proper table manners, all of those things matter. And of course, putting your phone away and being fully present is absolutely crucial.
It's amazing how those little gestures can speak volumes about how much you respect the occasion and the people you're with. All right, let's shift our focus to the heart of the job search: the interview itself.
The interview. It can definitely be nerve-wracking, but it's also your chance to shine, to showcase your skills, your personality, your passion.
The book is packed with information on how to prepare for those all-important conversations.
Doing your research on the company, practicing your answers to common interview questions, and coming prepared with thoughtful questions of your own, Those things show that you're prepared and genuinely interested.
Pollack also emphasizes the importance of being able to articulate your why. Why are you interested in this particular role in this company? How do your skills align with what they're looking for?
And that's where storytelling can be really powerful. Think about specific examples from your past, like internships, volunteer work, even challenging situations you've overcome. Use those stories to illustrate your abilities, your resilience, your capacity for growth.
And she also talks about how to discuss your weaknesses in a constructive way. It's not about pretending they're strengths. It's about acknowledging areas where you can improve and showing that you're committed to continuous learning.
Exactly. Employers appreciate self-awareness, honesty, and a growth mindset.
Let's talk about a format that's becoming more and more common, the video interview.
With the rise of remote work, video interviews have become a staple in the hiring process. And Polak has some great advice on how to ace those virtual encounters.
Making sure your technology is working, choosing a professional background, and having good lighting are all important.
And even though it's virtual, eye contact is still key. Look at the camera, not your own image on the screen.
Pollack reminds us that a video interview is still an interview. You need to dress professionally and maintain a professional demeanor just like you would if you were meeting in person.
Definitely. And don't forget about sending a well-written thank you note afterwards.
Ah, yes, the thank you note. It might seem old-fashioned, but it's a gesture of professionalism and courtesy that can really make you stand out.
Pollack suggests sending a personalized message within 24 hours, reiterating your interest and mentioning specific points from the conversation. It's a chance to reinforce your qualifications and leave a positive, lasting impression.
Speaking of leaving an impression, Pollack shares a story that really highlights the importance of being present and engaged in every interaction, even those that seem small or insignificant.
You mean the one where she met someone by chance outside the interview room?
That's the one. She was waiting to interview for a prestigious scholarship, and she struck up a conversation with an older gentleman who turned out to be a member of the selection committee.
It just goes to show you that you never know who you're talking to or how those connections might impact your future. Be kind, be curious, and embrace every opportunity to connect with others. It really makes you think outside the box and consider what truly excites you, regardless of the financial aspect.
It is pretty powerful. It encourages us to dream big, right? To find work that truly lights us up regardless of money.
Exactly. And you might even find that your dream job is more within reach than you thought.
Before we wrap up, I want to give our listeners a quick recap of the top 10 takeaways from Pollack's book.
Sure, go for it.
Okay, here are 10 key tips for navigating that transition from college to a fulfilling career. Number 1, network strategically. It's not about superficial connections, but about building real relationships and making a name for yourself in your field. Number 2, think beyond the traditional resume. Create a brag book to visually showcase your accomplishments and make a lasting impression. Number 3, develop those essential soft skills like public speaking, active listening, and clear communication. They're crucial in any career. Practice in low-stakes settings and watch your confidence soar. Number 4, don't be afraid of setbacks. Embrace failure as a learning opportunity. Employers are looking for people who are resilient and can bounce back from challenges. Number 5, chase your passions with everything you've got. Research relevant job sectors, build up your skills, and be willing to start small or even take on side gigs to gain experience in areas that truly excite you. Number 6, internships are invaluable. Use them to gain hands-on experience, expand your network, and figure out which career paths might not be a good fit. Number 7, never shy away from negotiation. Know your worth and advocate for yourself when it comes to salary and benefits. Number 8, always present yourself professionally. Dress appropriately, practice good etiquette, and make sure your online presence reflects the image you want to project. Number 9, prepare thoroughly for interviews. Research the company, practice your answers to common questions, and come prepared with thoughtful questions of your own. It shows genuine interest and initiative. And finally, number 10, let your enthusiasm shine through. A genuine passion for your work is contagious and can make all the difference.
What a great summary.
Well, that concludes our deep dive into Lindsey Pollack's Getting from College to Career. I hope you found it helpful, insightful, and maybe even a little bit inspiring. The job search, it could be tough, but it's also an exciting opportunity to define your own path and build a career that truly speaks to you. Thanks for joining us.